All right, there's many different tools. As soon as that log was cut, then they would need to use another tool, because eventually if I want to take this log and take it to the mill, let's say it was down here at the cook mill. If we go farther upstream, John Cobb worked farther upstream. He had a mill up there, but let's say they lost some logs that came down through here on a log drive, or they might have combined log drives. There might be, let's say, the Cook family here, Cobb family over there. If we go to Clear Creek, Fraser family. If we go over to Heart's Content, different families log different areas, but they may often use the same mill. So all the different companies who own the logs would go into this mill pond so that it get all mixed up. There had to be a way to keep track of whose wood was what. That's how you got paid. So you needed a special tool called a branding axe. Okay, and this particular branding axe has initials on one side and a number on the other. Okay. Well, it doesn't mean every branding axe had initials and a number, okay? It was whoever's owner it was, that was his mark. You've heard of branding cattle, okay? You got all these different kinds of designs, what have you. Everybody had a different design. And that's how you would keep track of whose wood was what. Because once they would start to draw that wood up into the mill, another fellow's job was his job was to keep track of those branding marks and how much board feet was coming, how much board feet was being produced out of a certain log, and that's how people would get paid. So as soon as that log would be cut into pieces, a fellow would come by and he'd brand the end of that log, the whole thing. Okay, now that's marked to whoever I'm working for. Okay, if I'm working for the Cook family, they would have their own brand. Okay, when it goes through the mill, that's how you would keep track of who had what. Now, oftentimes, well, we need to get this log out of the woods, but we need to usually move it a short distance before we go to our next tool. But if I want to move it off out in the woods a little bit, maybe roll it down to one of these trails, I can use this tool. This is called a peavey. Okay, this is made by Mr. Peavey. Okay, we named the tool after him. We made it. It's got a spike on one end and a sharp hook on the other. And what this is a great tool for leverage. So all you want to do if you want to move a log, you just put the hook in on it. It's very easily you can turn the log the way that you want it. This is fairly light log. This is only maybe 175 pounds. I can lift it up, but you can really see how well this tool works. If you've got a 16-foot log that's about 3 feet high, there's no way that you're going to effectively grab a hold of this log like this and twist it to roll it. You're going to rip your shoulders out. All right? And if you hurt yourself on the job, too bad, you don't get paid. Okay? They didn't have OSHA back then. If you cut your finger off, didn't matter. You worked without a finger, or maybe you got your wife to work for you. Okay? Or maybe your kids would work for you. But if you weren't there on the job, you didn't get paid. And back then it was very dangerous. Okay? So we would use this tool to move these, roll these logs in a short distance. Okay? You have two guys with a peavey, you can actually pick up a log and move it a short distance. But we have another tool that's actually easier to do that with. We'll show you here in a minute. But that's a peavey. Really nice log to have. One finger, you can easily move this log with just one finger. So let's see, now we've got the log moved out to where we wanted it, and now we've got another thing that we're going to use to help us to move these logs down to, let's say, the mill site. So now I need 2 volunteers. 2 strong volunteers. Okay, how about you and how about you? Come on up. Come on up. All right, what's your name? What? What's your name? Clark? All right, we got Skylar and we got Carl. Skylar and Carl are going to be my 2 oxen. Okay, guys, what I want you to do is come over here and put your hands here, both hands inside. So come over here, put both hands inside, hold it like this. You got it? Okay, put your hands inside. There you go. Rest it on your arms. close to your body like that. There you go. How heavy is that, guys? Not too heavy. That's maybe about 45 or so pounds right there. All right. Now, we got 2 big oxen here. Now just pretend these are big oxen. When they get full grown, these guys could be 800, 1,200 pounds. All right. This is actually a medium-sized ox yoke. When these are really small oxen, when they first start off, they have a small yoke. And what we do is we measure the distance between the bows here. This might be about 8 inches. This is what we call an 8-inch yoke. And their heads would actually be through here, okay? But we're going to help hold that up here a little bit. But as they grow, their necks are going to get larger than 8 inches. They're going to grow out of this yoke. So we need to make them a larger yoke. But as they get bigger, they're going to get even stronger. But what we're going to have them do is we're going to have them drag this log out here for me, okay? So I'm going to actually stand over here a little bit. Now when you go to move oxen, they're big animals, okay? But depending on how you raise them, they're probably quite gentle, okay? There's really not a whole reason to be afraid of them. You just need to watch where their hooves are and don't put your feet underneath their hooves. Other than that, they're going to do what you tell them to do. And you'd have a whip, but you wouldn't be whipping the animals into submission. All I would have to do, if I wanted Carl to move over here towards me, I might just take that whip and lay it on his back, and he would know that that's all it would take for him to just move over in this direction, okay? And if I want him to go back, we'd give him the command to go back, and then they would walk backwards, okay? So I'm going to have you guys line up. We're going to have our oxen pull a log over here. So I'm going to have you go forward. I'm going to have you help hold this right here. Thank you. All right, now before we can have them pull, I got to hook up. We'll use my grabs. All right, we've got some heavy log chains here. These might be about another 35 or so pounds. We're going to hook up my chain so that we can have our oxen pull this log. So to do that, don't drop it. To do that, we need a special tool. This is a grab maul. It's just a heavy iron weight on the end with a spike on it. It's not just a regular sledgehammer. It does more than a regular sledge. And we're going to put our grabs in. Okay, now that I got my grabs in, next thing I do is, oh no, darn it, I need another chain to hook from here to hook up to the ring here on the ox yoke. So it looks like they're not going to pull this log here today, but that's what it would be. Is you'd have another special chain that would go from here, and hook up to here, and when I give them command to go, they'd move that log like it was nothing. Okay, 2 big oxen could drag that little stick all day long. All right, but if you're looking at like about a 3-foot log, about 16 foot long, that's a heavy log, and they'd still be able to move that without much of a problem. All right, let's give our oxen a big hand of applause. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Now we go to take out our grabs. We use our grab maul, and that's where the little spike comes in handy. What do we call these? Remember what these are called? They're not just log chains. We call them grabs. All right? Call them grabs. And what's this called?
Spike maul.
Grab maul. Okay? Grab maul. You don't see many of these anymore. If you find these at all, you might just find the ring. Okay? This is actually an original tool. A number of these tools are original Cook tools that were donated to the park many years ago.